If you've been in a car accident and can't work, most people feel, hey, I can't be compensated for my lost wages. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not the case. That's not true. I'm Brett Harrison, a New York personal injury lawyer that's helped thousands of people recover lost damages after a car accident. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 key steps, or my secrets, to help you make sure you get every dollar you're owed or compensated for your lost wages. However, I'm going to show you from the start, the first 24 hours after an accident, that's critical. Secret number 1, call your insurance company within 24 hours or as soon as possible. Why is this so important? Well, let me give you an example. Carla was in an accident on Friday. Pretty good size hit. Her car was not drivable. She was just like, I just want to get home. So she didn't call her insurance company Friday, Saturday, Sunday. She stayed home from work on Monday, Tuesday, went back to work Wednesday, Thursday, still feeling pain. She just didn't want to deal with it. She was more focused on her property damage to her car instead of herself. Well, what happened? She finally couldn't take the pain anymore and decided the following Sunday, 9 days later, actually, I'm going to call my insurance company. So she called her insurance company and said, listen, I was in an accident 9 days ago. And the insurance company said, well, wait a second. Why did you delay calling us? And they started questioning Carla, almost like, hey, I'm your insured. She's saying, you should be on my side. And they're saying, well, why didn't you report the accident within 24 to 48 hours after you got into it? It probably couldn't have been that bad. You went to work, you didn't go to work. Have you gone to doctors? They started like almost putting her on the stand and cross-examining her. And Carla's like, but wait, aren't you here to help me? Well, the thing is here, let me give you another little secret inside tip. In New York State and in a lot of your insurance policies, in the little fine print that nobody really reads, it says some of them say you have 24 hours to report your accident or as soon thereafter. She waited 9 days. So they reversed the roles on her saying, well, I don't know, we're going to have to look into this. And, they asked for details. And eventually they asked for, not every insurance company does this, they asked for an examination under oath of Carla. That's her own insurance company wanting to question her regarding her injuries, why she was delayed in calling the accident in. So remember, call in the accident within 24 hours. I know you don't want to deal with it. You want to just be like, I just don't want to, this isn't what I want to do right now. Well, you got to do this. You got to protect your rights. This is why you pay those high insurance premiums every month. So while you might be busy with your doctors, getting treatment after an accident, worrying about fixing your car, going to a collision place, you know what? I know it's a hassle, and sometimes you're sitting on hold. But you know what? Call your insurance company. It won't take long. It'll stop them from turning the tables on you. Secret number 2, you must fill out your no-fault application within 30 days after your accident. Under New York State, in order to be compensated not only for your lost wages, but also to get all your medical bills paid, you have to fill out a no-fault application, which your insurance company will send you. You can fill it out online, or you can have an attorney help you fill it out. It's very critical because that gets the ball in motion, not only for your hospital bills, but also to set up your claim for your lost wages. Matter of fact, fill it out as soon as possible. Don't wait till the last possible day to fill it out and send it. Who knows if it gets lost in the mail and so forth. Now, here's the thing. If you don't fill it out and get it to the insurance company within that 30-day period, could be doomed for you. They might not pay you for all your lost wages. Even though it's valid, they could just say, oh, I'm sorry. You know what? You didn't fill it out within 30 days. And they could be real sticklers and say, 30 days. Nope, this is 40. This is 45. This is 38. Why do that to yourself? Don't let your insurance company make you a victim again. So that's why you pay these high premiums with your insurance company every month for exactly this circumstance. When you need your insurance company, make sure they'll be there. Don't have them reject you because you didn't follow what you were supposed to do. Get the application in within 30 days. Tip number 3. How are you paid? Are you paid on the books, off the books, or are you self-employed? So let's use an example. Sarah, she works at the mall and she gets a W-2 and a pay stub and paycheck every other week. That's very easy to show how much she earns per hour, how much she earns per year, how much overtime she gets every week, every month, or for the year. However, Sarah also has a second job, a side gig, where she gets paid cash. What she does, I'll leave that to your imagination. Now, however, getting paid cash is very hard to trace, and Sarah does not have any documentation or any type of anything to show that what her side gig makes her a year or a week or a month. So Sarah filed her no-fault application and asked for lost wages off her mall job, her sales job, as well as her side gig. However, Sarah hit a wall because her insurance company asked her, well, we see you a proof of employment and how much you make and how much you lost with your sales job at the mall, but your side gig? Do you have any paperwork with that? Do you have any documentation? Do you have any pay stubs? Do you have a copy of a contract? Do you have anything that you can show that you paid taxes on it or you claimed it on your tax returns? So now what happens is the insurance company starts saying, well, do you want to show us all your tax returns? And Sarah said, whoa, wait a second. I don't really want to get that. It's not that deep. I don't want to get too much into it. So what happened is Sarah ended up only getting compensated for the lost wages from her insurance company for her mall job. So Sarah hit a wall with regard to her side gig where she only gets paid cash because she had no documentation regarding the payment of the cash. So while most people say cash is king, in this situation, cash is not king because there's no documentation. What if I'm self-employed? Meaning you own your own business. Well, you can also collect for your lost wages, but you're going to need documentation again. What is examples of documentation? Client invoices, client contracts, and your tax returns, and also something called a 1099 form. So it is possible. It's all about keeping good records. So the secret here, if you're going to claim lost wages, start thinking about documentation. And if it's income that's not recorded, start thinking, is there a way I can substantiate it and record it? Otherwise, unfortunately, your insurance company will not compensate you for that part that you can't document. Tip number 4, make sure you have a wage verification form. What is a wage verification form? After you file for lost wages with your insurance company, they're going to require that you fill out what they have known as a wage verification form. But that's not filled out by you. That's filled out by your employer. So make sure you get that to HR or to whomever is responsible for filling out these wage forms. It's generally like a one-page form where it's basically going to ask your employer, does this person work here? Do you work here? How long have you worked here? What are your wages? How often do you get paid? Do you get paid overtime? Have you used lost or sick time or personal time? This form must be filled out and sent in by your employer. So let's take the case of Marcus. Marcus, he called his insurance company right away. He told them in his no-fault application how much he made. And this is key also. Don't lie on how much you make because they're going to want it verified. Paperwork. So, and they're going to see this in the wage verification form. So now what happened to Marcus? He waited 2 weeks. He waited 3 weeks, 4 weeks. His bills, of course, are still coming in from for his everyday life. What happened? You know what delayed his case? His employer just put the wage verification form on the pile of their things to do. Or they kept saying when he called his employer, "Oh, I sent it to HR. Let me check with HR." Nothing happened. So you really need to be diligent, because without the filled form, the wage verification form, it's going to delay you getting paid from the insurance company. And that's just not fair. Get confirmation and a copy that it went out, so you can say to your insurance company, "Hey, I know they sent it to you." So this way, if your insurance company says, "Oh, I don't see it," say, "No problem. Let me email or fax that right to you right now." This way, you don't get delayed in getting your lost wages, which you are entitled to and which you pay for with your monthly bill that you get from your insurance company, your premium bill. If you're self-employed or own your own business, be prepared to send your last 2 years and your current tax return, or be prepared to contact your accountant who can help assist you in getting paid your lost wages. So in the end, be prepared to have the documentation that's needed. In other words, make it easier for your insurance company so they have no excuses not to pay you, but to pay you right away. Tip number 5, you need documentation, your doctor's note of disability, your treating doctor. So what does this mean? After a car accident, you typically go to your doctor based upon what your injury is, whether it's your knee, your back, or some kind of combination. What the doctor's note does is it details what your injury is, your disability. It also tells the insurance company, "Hey, X person, you can't work and do your type of job, whatever that your job is, because of his injury, his disability due to this accident." The key here is it has to be causally related to your accident that prevents you from doing your job. If it's something unrelated, the insurance company could say, "Well, that injury is unrelated. Your doctor doesn't note the injury," and then you won't possibly get paid or the full amount from your insurance company. So in other words, you can't just stay home for 2 weeks and submit everything to the insurance company. You must submit a doctor's note of disability, a treating doctor's note. Without it, it'll be delayed or, worst case scenario, denied. So you will not get your lost wages. A typical question I get is, what if I've been taken away in an ambulance? Well, once you're released, you can get a report based upon your release, but also it usually says in the hospital paperwork when you're released that, hey, follow up with a doctor within a week. So I would recommend to follow up with the doctor, because to get your full hospital record from the ER usually takes anywhere from 30 to 45 days, because you have to fill out forms. Your treating doctor or doctor's note of disability is not a one-time document. Generally, it's done every 2 weeks or every month, because it usually gives a time period from your doctor that'll say, Bob or Jane can't work for June 1st to June 14th, or it'll say June 1st to June 30th, at which time he or she will be reevaluated. So whatever that doctor's note is, make sure, like clockwork, that your doctor gives you another note of disability, because you have to constantly resubmit that before the lost wages is sent to you by your insurance company, which, by the way, as a side note, typically your insurance company cuts those checks once a month. So please don't forget, you must have this key document, the note of disability from your doctor. Without it, it will either delay or prevent you from getting the lost wages that you're entitled to from your insurance company. So think of it this way. You need to prove you couldn't work. You can't just say it. And the way you prove it is with a doctor's note or notes from the hospital, as well as your treating doctors. Make sure your doctor's note is very detailed. In other words, make sure it's more than it just says client or you should rest. It's got to be more detailed because that's the bridge between your injury to your lost claim of wages. Here's a little bonus tip for you. Just don't tell too many people. Let's say you use your personal, your vacation, your sick time. Well, you know what? We can get you compensated. Make sure the insurance company pays you for using your sick, your personal, your bonus days. Okay? Make sure you get that documented too from your employer. A separate letter. That, hey, Scott used these days. He used his 5 personal days and 7 vacation days for this period of time so that we can show that you used that time due to your car accident. The insurance company will compensate you for that as well. We just covered the 5 secrets to recovering your lost wages after an accident. But how can I double my injury settlement after an accident? Well, watch the next video where I show you my 5 secrets so you can double your injury settlement.